Hypnosis has been a method used to explore it and assist medically. Is it beneficial, and can we improve our method and use, and how?
Again, like previous questions, it can be beneficial for those individuals that are attracted to use that particular permission slip. It can be very effective for many of you because it does help the majority of people in the collective idea of the themes you are exploring to unlock from any particular reality concept that you may be holding on to and truly be capable of letting it go. So it can be an effective permission slip because it taps into the collective unconscious of your reality and the themes that the collective may have agreed to explore, and lets you, in many cases, be relatively fluid with them or free of them. So, yes, but it's still nonetheless a permission slip. And again, it can be more effective the more you understand how it can be a skeleton key of sorts to unlock every different kind of lock that may be experienced in your life. But again, it's up to the individual to decide whether or not that's something that they will gravitate to, that they are attracted to. Remember that you're hypnotizing yourself all the time anyway to believe certain things that aren't necessarily real, at least temporarily so. So, all of you, in that sense, in order to have a physical reality, are under the influence of different types of hypnosis.
Okay, and is the subconscious mind like a doorway to the higher consciousness? Is the subconscious part of the mind or the higher self?
It's part of the mind, but it is the part, again, that acts as a go-between between the physical conscious mind and the unconscious mind to determine exactly what portions of information that reside in the unconscious mind and the higher self the physical mind is ready to process. So it acts as a kind of a gatekeeper, the subconscious mind, to let through whatever the conscious mind feels it is ready to deal with in terms of facing different belief systems and processing them and letting the negative ones go. So, of course, everything is a reflection of what the higher mind chose to experience, but it is a specific part that acts as a gatekeeper for what the conscious mind is ready to deal with.
Okay, and what, if any, impact do things like autism, ADD, and things like that have on the triunal structure and the way our belief systems are formed?
I'm going to put this very simply. The effect that those kinds of situations or conditions have is to either make the subconscious mind more or less open to bringing through certain ideas in a very specific way. So, in other words, the subconscious mind may now be relegated to bringing only certain things through, but bringing them through more fully than it ever would for a quote unquote typical trilateral conscious mind. So it depends upon what, again, the theme of exploration is, what this spirit or soul has decided to experience, and how it will use the subconscious mind as a gateway to bring through those specific things that are relevant for the experience that you are calling autism or those other conditions you have named. So it's
Yes,
like having the subconscious mind have a way of doing slightly different kinds of duties, slightly different kinds of filtering or not filtering, depending upon the theme that is being explored by that particular consciousness.
and with multiple personality disorder, is that a mental issue or is it a spiritual issue?
Well, it can be both, because again, remember, as above, so below. So there can be affectations in the mental consciousness that will allow for that particular being to experience those things that may originate in a other dimensional or spiritual nature. But the idea fundamentally, and again, not for every case, but fundamentally, is that an individual is tapping into multiple parallel realities, multiple versions of themselves, without necessarily having the filtering system or the control system imposed upon it that would allow them to function in an orderly fashion, communicating with one another in a way that still allows the individual to function, quote unquote, normally in your reality. So it's a type of tapping into multiple dimensions, multiple parallel realities, without the ability to focus in any one particular one in an effective way, but again can be done for a variety of reasons that may be personal to that particular consciousness experiencing that.
So is the person tapping into multiple spirits and having them all share one body, or?
No, it's not the sharing in the body, but it's an expression through the body, if that's what you mean by that. They don't all reside in the body per se, but the body can function as a reflector or a mirror for different versions of spirit and consciousness and physical beings in other parallel realities temporarily. So again, sort of like your telephone analogy, you can have different friends speak to you through the same phone, but it's not like they're inhabiting the phone. It's like the idea is that the phone and your body is a device that can, based on its frequency, allow different voices and different experiences to come through temporarily.
So, is creativity from the higher mind, the subconscious mind, or the unconscious mind?
It is mostly from the higher mind, although there can be versions of it that filter into the unconscious and subconscious and even the conscious mind in the form of inspiration. But as we said, the idea is that the higher mind is the conceiver, the brain is the receiver, and the physical conscious mind is the perceiver. So, what you're calling creativity is a conception that originates in the higher mind, in the higher self, and filters down in whatever ways are relevant through the unconscious, subconscious, and into the conscious mind in ways that allow the conscious mind, the conscious being, the personality to be creative. But all of that comes from source and therefore filters down, so to speak, through the higher mind to the conscious mind, the triune conscious mind.
How does that relate to the higher mind, to the oversoul, to the to the unconscious, subconscious? I notice there's confusion often.
All right. Again, without going into too much detail and too many layers and levels, because you can create a number of them anyway for various purposes. Of course, everything starts with all that is source. It all comes from that. It's all an expression of that. But it goes down into different levels of oversoul, whether you want to say it's a universal oversoul or a galactic oversoul or a solar system oversoul or a planetary oversoul is relatively arbitrary. But it goes from the oversoul level into the individual soul level, and then the individual soul creates the idea of the non-physical higher mind and the triune physical mind. Then through the experiences of the physical mind, you create the concept of the unique spirit that is germane and unique to that particular physical experience, and that becomes part of the soul. But the idea, again, is that it usually goes from oversoul to higher mind, to unconscious to subconscious to conscious mind, that then through its experience creates a representative spirit that is a unique representation of the experience of that particular personality that then resides in the soul and the oversoul and all that is from that point forward, speaking linearly.
Awesome. um, Mind filtering UFOs. Are there does the unconscious and subconscious minds that are responsible for filtering out things filter out UFOs, fairies, elementals, other beings from the conscious mind and limit what it can receive? And if so, is it being due to negative beliefs or is it for other reasons?
Both. It can be for fear-based beliefs that it's doing that filtering. It can be something that the conscious mind believes it's not ready for. That would cause upset and imbalance within it to perceive those things because of its theme of exploration. And it can also simply be that a being is not ready in timing for the idea, and it simply can be outside the theme of exploration. But again, there are limitations there that are dissolving. You are becoming more aware that these beings exist, that these forms of consciousness exist, that there are ET beings, that there are extra dimensional beings, that there are elemental beings, there are different aspects of consciousness that are connected to your planet in a variety of levels. And therefore, it's really simply a matter of when it's the appropriate timing for you to allow and open up and dissolve the barriers between the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious minds to the degree where they can perceive more in the conscious mind of what is all around it all the time. The unconscious mind is always aware of these things, just as the higher mind is. But again, it's a reservoir that holds these things back because the subconscious mind determines from the belief system of the conscious mind what the conscious mind is ready to perceive and experience and interact with based on the theme of exploration and the belief systems that exist at that moment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you've said that to access the subconscious mind, unconscious mind, and so on, that we have to raise our vibration.
Yes.
But how do we know that we are in that state? How do we know that we've accessed the subconscious or the unconscious mind? And do you have a tip to achieve the most frequent type of vibration needed to access the subconscious and the unconscious?
Last question first, follow the formula because it
Right.
leaves nothing relevant out and raises your vibration when you're acting on your passion. And the question, how do we know when we're there, will become obvious when you actually have raised your vibration. To ask the question means the vibration is not high enough. When you are in the high enough frequency, that question will no longer be relevant and it will be exactly apparent what level you're on, what vibrational state you're in. So raising your vibration will eliminate the need to ask a question, when am I in that vibration? How do I know when I'm in that vibration? It's a self-canceling idea.
Is there a frequency level that you can mention that you would need to be at in order to receive that information?
It may be slightly different for everyone, but in general, it usually happens for most humans on your planet when you have achieved something above 180,000 cycles per second.
So if you're in the channeling state, so to speak, or you're following your passion, so you're in that state, there's
Yes.
different levels of excitement and full consciousness commitment to the experience, because maybe things are running in the background.
Let me
So,
correct that.
okay.
There are different expressions of excitement, but there aren't different levels of excitement. Excitement is excitement. Passion is passion. It can express itself in different ways, and there can be different vibrational states to those expressions, but the raw core idea of passion or excitement is a pure vibrational state without different levels in it. That's the point we're making, is that when you're actually functioning more holistically in the vibration of passion and excitement, the idea of much of the so-called confusion about what level you're on disappears, because by definition, what comes with that is a complete recognition by definition of exactly what pure state you're in.
Okay, so I know that a lot of people, after they experience you and the communications from you, they feel a deep sense of inspiration and
Yes.
excitement about their lives and
Yes.
what they can do.
Yes.
Comparing that to, say, someone who loves to paint, but while they're painting, they're thinking about the bills they have to pay or something like that.
Then they're
You
not
would
in
be
their
able,
passion. They're not in their passion at that moment.
so you would be able to feel that inspired sense that we can feel after interacting with you. That would be a true indication of that higher frequency. Yes.
Yes, stay there.
Okay.
No matter what you have to think of. The idea is, again, you must remember that this all happens in perfect timing. There will be a time when, if it is important for you to ponder the idea of a bill, it will come in the form that is still part of your passion. It won't be a distraction. It won't be a less than experience. It won't distract you from the passion of the moment. You'll find the right time to be passionate about the idea of paying a bill if that is something that is truly necessary as part of your passion. So these things come in pure form. They don't obstruct each other. They don't interact in a way that is destructive to one another, it still allows you to come in a form in perfect timing that allows you to experience each and every one of those things in its pure, exciting form. Again, this is an issue of perfect timing.
Okay. And you've talked a lot about memories and how we create our memories from the present, and
Yes.
also how we can change the past by shifting our frequency.
Yes.
So, how does that relate to other people that are in our lives if their memories aren't aligned with ours because we've shifted frequencies and shifted the planet that we're on? How does that synchronize between the people in our lives and what we remember and what they think is true?
Well, again, as we have said, for a while, you are agreeing to play the game of continuing to be aware of people that have made different choices and are experiencing different things. You're allowing that to be part of your game for a while. Eventually, you won't. Eventually, there will be no, shall we say, disagreement on the overall picture of what you're experiencing when you have shifted to the version of Earth where everyone is relatively harmonious and in sync with one another. But for now, for the purpose of experiencing process and for the purpose of still giving yourself the opportunity to change your mind and make different choices, you have agreed, even during your shifting, to shift to versions of Earth where you're still aware that there are different choices you could make that may not be relevant or in alignment with what you prefer. That's part of the choice you're making for now, to give everyone a chance to make their choices, to see in you different experiences they could choose for themselves, and for you to see in them different ideas you could choose for yourself. That's part of the game you're playing, even while shifting to different versions of Earth.
So, what kind of a timeline are we looking at with this in terms of when you would experience Earth and be experiencing people having similar memories to you?
Of course, it will vary from individual to individual, but again, we could say that the overall bubble would probably be about 50 of your years.
Okay, and so for those individuals who may not live for another 50 years, they would
Yes?
just experience varying degrees of that.
Yes. Again, it will be per individual. Some may go on ahead, some may lag behind. There may be an average to it. So you can't just say it's true for everyone, but we're giving you an overall average for the collective of your reality, barring the exceptions. About 50 years for everyone that you perceive in the version of Earth you're in to seem relatively harmonious
Um,
to whatever idea, relatively in sync to whatever idea you're experiencing, whether it's positive or negative.